Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, Dianne Harris, who is a coach, an author, a speaker, and my former client. So, welcome, Dianne. I cannot wait to talk about your book.
Thank you, Julie. I'm so excited to be here. This is a long time coming and it's perfect timing.
Okay, so Diane's book is called Love Bomb, and she just launched it at the beginning of this month. And tell us just kind of like a very rough, high level overview of what your book is about.
Okay, that will be difficult to do, but I'll do it. It's 10 years, the 10-year memoir, transformational. It's four parts, and it's about me meeting someone who I thought that the love was the love of my life at 39 years old, and then the experience that I had in those 10 years from till about 49 of realizing that I was in a pretty severe emotionally abusive relationship and how I was tried to fix him and I abandoned myself and flipped myself around, for years trying to save the relationship and how I got out. And basically, that's the quick version.
I read it and I really identified with it a lot. And I think a lot of women who read this book will self-identify in a lot of the parts of your book. And it's incredibly validating. Like, if anybody, and I'm just going to say this at the very beginning because I want all of you listeners to know that if you think that you might be in a controlling or manipulative or abusive relationship, this is a really great book to identify what those red flags truly are because Dianne walks you through all of them. And I think it's really amazing. And it was a very gripping read because we're just cheering for you all the way through it. But one of the things that you talk about in the beginning is when you first encountered the term love bomb and you felt it in your body and you understood it for the very first time in your mind. Can you take us back to that moment? And what were you reading that caught you and made you just catch your breath when you heard that term?
What was tough for me is that the way I grew up is I didn't ever intentionally try to hurt somebody, ever. Like I grew up a Christian girl, went to church every Sunday, and I have a good heart, right? So, of course I'm human, but when I started learning about these manipulative tactics, I'm like, why? Like, love bomb is an oxymoron to me, right?
Mhm.
Like, why would you try to get somebody in with love and then emotionally manipulate them after,
Mhm.
right? Whether it's with gifts or affection or texting or trips or dinners or bags or whatever it is, and then use that against them as leverage. It's just I couldn't wrap my head around that because it just made no sense to me. And that's the crux of this entire relationship is the confusion. I
Mhm.
was spinning in it. So I had a really hard time wrapping my head around the paradox of the love and the hate and
Mhm.
this I called it mindfuckery. It was the
Totally is.
best
It's
the
total
best term I
mindfuckery.
could come up with.
What what were you reading or what was the moment that like made you realize that aha moment of, oh my God, that is exactly what I'm going through?
I must have been reading like an article or
Mhm.
online or heard it on something.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then that just like lodged into my brain. And I let it and it stayed there into my subconscious brain. And then of course throughout, later on into the relationship when I hired my first coach while I was in coaching certification school, and he was an emotional abuse coach. And I really didn't even know what that was,
Were
but it
you
was
still in
happening
the
to
marriage
me.
when you went through that?
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. And he educated me on emotional abuse. And I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I'm living.
Wow. So you
Hmm.
weren't looking for help for yourself. You were at the time, were you just learning to become a coach? And in that process, you kind of like stumbled across what was really going on with you?
Yeah, and this was all during the pandemic. So we were in lockdown. And the whole certification process went online. So I'm with people from all around the world. And when you're in certification school, when you're coaching other people, you're coaching on real life topics. So I'm like bearing my soul to these people and crying the whole time. Yeah, it was crazy. It was really hard to learn how to coach other people while you're, here. So, yeah, it was really difficult, but I learned a lot. And, it explained it. It definitely explained it. I mean, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Because I mean, I didn't want to believe that my husband was a narcissist because, of course, that's a big term that people throw around. I didn't think he was
right.
because he he was so grand and nice and loving when he was, right? So it was so confusing, you know.
Yes, yes. Well, one of the things that I love about your book is you kept a journal. You had like multiple journal entries, and in your process of writing this book, you went all back through those journal entries and you took real moments. Like you had all of the documentation, which made for a very compelling read, right? So, was there a specific moment in time where you felt like, I need to document this? And why?
Absolutely.
And why?
Yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was year two, and it was it was a Friday night. We had all the kids together. There was 8 of us when we were all together, and we just had pizza. It was near Christmas. Christmas music movies playing, and there was this switch flipped on the person, and that's when the fighting went back and forth, or the testing and the fighting went back and forth, and it just got out of hand, and it wasn't the first time in front of the kids, and some of them were young at that point. And I was like, this, I can't have this happen in front of the kids, right? Especially mine, this was at his house, and luckily I had my own car, and he actually told me to leave in front of all the kids, and I was like, happily. So I remember leaving, getting home, and like taking out my phone and opening up my notes section and started my first journal. And now I have 250 in there from over the years. And then the first one, and I just sat down on the couch after I got the kids to bed, and I just said, I want to understand what just happened.
Hmm.
That was not normal. Like I
Yeah,
just basically put
yeah.
it out on yeah. And I'm like, the back and forth, the pressing, you calling me this, you do it. Yeah. And that was it. It was and then I continued for years, and it told a story, a pattern. And to be truthful, that whole book is pretty much my journal. I just turned a lot of the journals into narrative with my editor. So there's stories in between to connect it all, but it's pretty much my journal. That's like
Thing.
it's pretty, yeah.
And I mean, what's so amazing about it is it's so real. And the way that you describe this, like, manipulative torture, it's incredible. And I think people are really going to see themselves in that. But as you were going back through these journals, getting ready to write your book, how long did it take you before you finally said, okay, I'm ready to sit down and write this? Because that's hard. That's a lot of
Mhm.
reliving and rereading everything that you went through. Like, at what point did you say you were ready?
I took a couple years to just process what I had just gone through.
Hmm.
And I went on YouTube, and I put in how to write a memoir. I didn't know how to do this. And so I hired a book coach, a literary coach, to help me with the outline. And then I took a break, and then we did the outline. I took a break, and then I took a lot of breaks. I was healing. I had to. So once I really got writing, I got in 2025, I hired her monthly to like keep me on track. And it was really difficult. It was difficult. It was pedal to the metal,
Hmm.
crazy. And so what was really difficult was I had to go back and become Dianne at 40, at 41, at 42, at 43, at 44, at all those ages. I had to become her in those journal entries and write as I was her. in that tense.
Mm.
Very difficult, but I did it.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah. You said somebody asked you if it was cathartic, and I love your answer. What was it?
Yeah, fuck no. It was not cathartic at all. It was hell.
Yeah, it was
It
hell.
was hell.
I believe it. I believe it.
But I
What
didn't
if,
have a choice, Julie. I
yeah,
had, like, I knew in my deep in my heart and soul that I had to finish this book,
yeah,
not for me,
yeah.
for the woman that needed to read it. I knew I had to and publish it.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, you were really writing down your soul and putting it all out there for the world to read. And
Hmm.
that takes so much courage, just as much courage as it takes to leave somebody like that, right?
Yeah.
Um, so one of the things you talk about in your book is that your body registered your ex as like, I don't know, dangerous before your mind did.
Yes.
Tell me about that. What
It's
was
a,
that feeling and what did you do with it?
it's a really good way to put it. Um, I wasn't listening to my body at all. I was ignoring her,
Hmm.
all the signals. And that's a big piece of work that I do with my own clients now, because if I had only,
Right.
even on the
Yeah.
first date, even the profile, seriously. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I mean, just the anxiety in the belly, the tightness in the neck, the migraines coming in, like those are
Hmm.
all your body's signals telling you, right?
Yeah.
And then when that happens, when there's accumulation over years, then it gets chronic, and then you can break down. And then obviously, if you when you read the book, you'll read that my body did break down. So when you ignore those signals, there can be a catastrophe brewing, which
Absolutely.
is your body keeps the score,
Hmm.
you know?
Well, and one of the ways that I describe it with my clients, I don't know if you remember this or not, but it's like in order to live in a situation that is unaligned with your soul, it's like you take your intuition and you gag her and bind her up and you throw her in the closet and you're trying to shut up that part of you. And it's in there, it's trying to get your attention, but you are doing everything you can to ignore it because all signs over here are that life is good, right?
Hmm.
And you're just ignoring that whole part of you. So part of this, reckoning that you're going through is like coming to terms with your intuition, bringing her back, learning to really listen and hear what she has to say and believe her.
Absolutely. And I think not to get too deep, but it stems back to your inner child. It all does. It's the little
Yeah,
Diane, the little
yeah,
Julie, right?
yeah,
All of
yeah.
it.
I take care of her.
Yeah. No one else is.
Seriously. So one of the things you kind of talk about, I don't know, it was like his architecture of manipulation. You describe handing him your heart and your playbook by being open and direct about your values and deal breakers. Can you
Hmm.
explain how somebody could weaponize that honesty and use it against them?
Yes, this happened on the first date, actually, because we had a couple of weeks before we couldn't get together. So we were talking and texting, and it was so, so exciting, right?
Hmm.
And I said, like, I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want my time wasted. So let's, like, these are the things that, I mean, infidelity for me, like,
Hmm.
that's not something that I'm never gonna deal with. So,
Hmm.
that's like put that right in the back pocket. I'm gonna remember that. So on our first date, he told me that his ex-wife cheated on him. I mean, first of all, that's a red flag right there. You don't share that on a first date, even if that
Right.
was true. But I don't even know to this day if that's true. to tell you the truth. At this point, I'm thinking, and I haven't heard from her yet, but maybe I will. It could be the opposite. It could be the other way around. Who
Yeah.
knows? So that whole time, I'm thinking,
Oh my
oh,
God, we have so much in common.
she cheated on. Oh, you don't like infidelity either. And of course,
Oh,
I believed him. I was a very trusting person,
yeah.
right? So not anymore, but so yeah, and that disarmed me. That
Yeah.
disarmed me, and yeah. So that's one thing right there.
I think it's really like awakening for a lot of women to who get into a relationship who have never experienced anything like that before. They're trusting and they can't tell the difference between the red flags and the green flags when it comes to, narcissistic abuse. Let's just call it what it is because that is
Yeah.
clearly what it is. And I think
Hmm.
I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but it's because it's out there a lot.
Hmm. Hmm.
It is flagrant, it is out there in our world, and there are a lot of bad men. And we have to be careful. We have to arm ourselves. And
Hmm.
one of the ways of arming ourselves is, by reading these kind of books where you can like identify the signs, right?
Hmm.
What were some of the
Yes.
signs early on?
Well, these are the signs that most of us women find very attractive. They're like the C words, like charming, confident, charismatic. We love that, right?
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, I'm sure there's many C words, but those are the first that come to my mind. And it's like we like that, whether they're the best looking guy in the room or not. If you have those things, it
Cash
is
and credit cards are the other C
attractive.
words.
Cash and credit. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe caring, but it's like a fake caring, of course. But
It's more
yeah.
like a show of
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
it's like it's putting a spotlight on him by making a big show of purchasing things for you, right? It's like,
Exactly.
look how generous I am.
Yeah. Well, hence the title Love Bomb,
Yeah.
you know. But as you'll read, or you read, or other people in the book, oh, it all comes back. It all comes back to haunt you. It is only on borrow time. You only, oh yeah.
Yeah. What are the
Nothing
early signs?
is,
What are the early signs that you would warn somebody about if like you were talking to young Diane today?
you really need to listen to the signals in your body,
Hmm.
even if it's just something subtle, right? Like if somebody has to try really hard, like they need to feel relaxed. Like this guy was not relaxed.
Mm.
He was like, he was very hyper, like very
Hmm. Intense.
intense. Yes,
Hmm.
very
Hmm.
intense, but all the time. Not even
Mm.
just, on a first, second, third, fourth date. Very intense, very like like full of anxiety and just like, you know, just always on the go and just yeah, like a ticking time bomb, really. To tell you the truth.
I think one of the things that you really explained really well was at the beginning how he was all about speed in the relationship, like
Exactly.
locking it down, right?
Hmm.
Like early intimacy, early to like move in together, like early to say I love you, like all of these
Oh
things
yeah.
that as grown-ass women today, we need to see that as a red flag and we need to prolong the dating period so that you really know what you're getting into because
Hmm.
they will reveal themselves.
Yes. And to add to that, and to answer your earlier question, the pace. The
Yeah.
pacing of the relationship is absolutely imperative, especially
Hmm.
as we get older, right? Because we're
Yeah.
middle-aged women and we don't want to be alone. And, our kids might be, graduating high school and going to college. And no,
Hmm.
it's called pacing. And it's healthy
Yeah.
for a reason, right?
I mean, I think that's one of the signs of a healthy man, healthy, stable man, is that he's going to take it slow and he's going to go according to your timeline,
Hmm.
right? So if you're being a cautious woman, like we all should be, because again, we don't know what we're getting into, we are taking things slow. We are prolonging the time before we have sex. We are prolonging the time, even if we feel it and we want to say, I love you, you like wait,
Yeah,
right? Like hold
right.
out. Um,
If
you
a man asks you if it's okay, if he's falling in love with you, big red flag.
know, yeah, I don't know
That's what
anybody
happened
that
to me. I'm like,
that's
what?
odd.
What? That was very awkward.
And
Very,
so
very awkward.
early, right? So
So
early.
early.
Yeah.
So early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think another big red flag is the way that he overly complimented, um, like overly. And I
Hmm.
experienced that myself when I was dating after divorce, and I recognized it. I recognized it right away, and I was like, I'm gonna have fun, but this one is not a keeper and it's not gonna
Yeah.
last, you know?
No.
But
Right.
I think you have to have a certain like strength in order to recognize it and resist it, and a little bit of backstory. Like you read these kind of books, and that will give
Hmm.
you the warning signs that are so huge red flags, but so many women will believe his talk over his actions. And I think that's so
Right.
scary, so scary.
And what I would like for to add to that is, as far as his talk and actions worked
Hmm.
because as you know, because you read the book,
Hmm.
it was a love story for me. You know,
Hmm.
probably the first half of it, anyways. I
Yeah.
loved this man with my being, with my
Yeah.
heart and soul. I, at the age of 40 years old, thought I'm like, I don't know if I've ever actually been in love before. I mean, I love this man more than I've loved anybody or differently than I've ever loved anybody in my entire life before. Like we were
Hmm.
growing old together. I
Hmm.
was like, this is it. This is what they talk about. This
Hmm.
guy is my soulmate. Like we were best friends. This is when we weren't, when he wasn't raging on me, right?
Right. Right.
So that's why it stayed so long. You could get in that cycle. So
Yeah.
it's not a revenge book by any
It's
means.
like really high highs and then really low lows are what you're
Exactly.
experiencing. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And you just desperately try to get back to the at least a medium, at
Hmm.
least.
Yeah.
And because the high highs are just too much, right? You just want to get to the medium and stay there.
Do you think in the beginning or the first half of the relationship, there were a lot more high highs than there were low lows?
Absolutely. Oh
Okay.
yeah. The first couple
It's like
years. And
how
of
he cooks
course,
you. Hmm.
oh yeah, totally. Totally. And we didn't live together for 5 years. I mean, we stayed at each other's homes a lot. We had like every other weekend together
Oh,
with
okay.
with no kids, our
Okay.
custody lined up together. So
Okay.
we had a lot of time together, but we didn't live together for 5 years. So I mean, it
Oh,
was
wow.
fun. We had
Yeah.
the kind of fantasy life.
Did
So
it change when you lived together or got
oh
married?
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a really low point in my life at that time too. So I should never have married him. I wrote in my journal, do not marry this man in capital letters. Do not. And what did I do?
You
Marry
did.
him. I did. Yeah, because
Oh my
that makes everything
God.
better. It's just like having that third kid to fix the marriage.
It astounds me how much we just self-abandon ourselves. And that is such a good example. You literally wrote down, do not marry this man, and then you did it.
And we eloped too. I'm like, let's just go elope and it's gonna fix everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not really a marriage. We're just eloping. We're not announcing it to everybody. We're just gonna run off and do it secretly
Yeah, because it will
before
fix.
before any of my friends can stop me.
Exactly. That's probably why I did it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So One of the things in your epigraph you described, they tried to destroy you with fraudulent love. You rebuilt yourself with the real thing. What does the real thing mean to you now?
So this is great, Julie. So I always thought that I had this like healthy, self-loving relationship with myself.
Mhm.
And I really had to rework that
Yeah.
because a woman doesn't abandon herself
Hmm.
for another person when she's in a healthy, loving relationship with herself. And that's exactly what I was doing. So I had to revamp my relationship with myself. And it's been beautiful. I feel like after you turn 50, because you and I are the same age, it is
Yeah.
like, it's beautiful. It's amazing. I've been single now for 5 years and it's been glorious. I mean,
Oh, I
yeah,
love
there's
it.
times when I'm lonely, but, or let me say this, there are times when I feel alone, but I don't ever feel lonely.
Yeah.
I've got so much going on, but it's been
Yeah.
beautiful. I've had my own love story with myself.
That's beautiful. I think
Hmm.
everybody needs that. Like it's
Yeah.
such a important step in healing after divorce. So, are you looking for love again?
I'm not looking. I'm not, if it's delivered to me like the great man, I'm not going to turn it away. If someone wants to set me up on a date, I'm not really doing the online dating right now.
Hmm.
I said that the book was my boyfriend for 3 years.
Yeah.
It really was. I did go on,
Yeah.
a handful of dates here and there just to remind see if I can still do it. But
Yeah.
I believe in love. I
Hmm.
believe in love, and I believe that someday I will have a beautiful love someday. I really do. I am worthy of it. I'm worthy of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. But I'm not like holding my breath for it either. I have a great life.
I think that is the best place to be
Hmm.
and the best place to date from is not from out of need or desperation, right? It's like you love your life first and that's so important to you that you're not willing to give it up or change it for the wrong
Yes,
person, right? Because the right person isn't gonna change it. He's gonna enhance it.
exactly. And you said it perfectly.
So, what would you say to the people that are still inside one of these relationships that is quietly eroding themselves? How would you help others recognize these patterns before they reach that point of no return?
First of all, I would invite them to read my book because when you hear it coming from someone else so honestly and authentically and with just such rawness,
Mm-hmm.
and I've gotten such feedback from people.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you read that from somebody else, you can it gives you permission to feel your own feelings, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
It's
to
like you have an
know that
ally. It's reading your book. It's like
yes,
knowing it's like you have an ally, somebody on your side who says, you're not wrong. You're not
mhm,
imagining this.
right,
It's
exactly. You're not
not,
crazy.
you're not crazy.
Right.
Oh
You're
my
not
God.
crazy. You're not crazy. You're not
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. I wrote this book for I wrote this is the book that I needed.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm writing this book for the woman for Diane, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to hear from these women because I know I will. I
Yeah,
will. It's only been out
absolutely.
for a couple weeks, right? So once they start reading it, and I can't like that will be where the catharticism comes
Hmm.
in for me is when I
Yeah.
start to hear from these women. They said I've had a couple of people so far. Like I realize that I'm in this relationship and I'm out. I'm getting out now.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so much more worth it. I've been hanging on, waiting for him to change. I'm so much more
Wow.
worth than this.
So tell me about Diane today, because like this was all past Diane, and you've had to kind of
Mhm.
live a little bit in the past as you wrote this book. And like, what are you going to do with all of this amazing knowledge and wisdom?
So I do have a coaching practice, as you know, and that has evolved over the years. It's evolved in my healing. So
Yeah.
like I think in the beginning of my healing, I wanted to coach like, women that are going through emotionally abusive relationships and like
Mhm.
just that. But like now I want to coach the women like, yes, there, but like also where I am now,
Yeah.
like on the other side of divorce. Like I didn't never really wanted to be like a divorce coach, like in that realm with them.
Right.
Now, like, on the other side, and then just like what's next for them? Like their transfer,
Yeah.
obviously their transformation, but like what's possible? What's
Oh,
next?
I
Like,
love that.
the new identity. Because
Hmm.
that's kind of where I am. I feel like after 50, you can change your
We're always
identity. It's like so exciting.
we're always
It's so
reinventing
exciting.
ourselves. I
Our kids are all grown up
uh,
mostly, it's like, what do I want to do now? And you can do this with a partner or without a partner. Career, like this is not new career for me, but I'll be going full time with this career, hopefully
yeah.
within the next year.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's my ideal client is me, you
I
know,
love it.
and they have to be
I love
excited
it.
about it.
Hmm. I love the idea of what is possible. Like that's what I'm always trying to help pull out of people. And, I think even when you were in the collective, like this was something that was on the radar for you. Like
Yeah.
you knew where you were going and you believed in your possibility, which I think makes for an amazing transformation and a great success story. So thank you so much for being here. How can people reach out to you? How can they get your coaching? And how can they get your book?
Oh, so the book is on Amazon. It's under Love Bomb, Dianne Harris.
Yeah.
Two N's, two R's, which just makes it easier. DianneHarris.com, two N's, two R's, and Dianne Harris Coach on all the social media.
Last thing, famous last wise words for somebody who is still trying to identify whether they're in a healthy relationship or they need to get out. What would you say to that person?
My famous last words are always listen to your body, your gut, your intuition. And if you can't hear it, you need to get quiet. Okay. And if listen to what it says, your body knows.
You know, and another really good sign is if you have 250 journal entries that is questioning whether or not this is a healthy relationship, the answer is probably no.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Julie. I appreciate it so much.